Breaking news now on Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Breaking news here at 6. 2 state troopers were hurt while responding to a crash on I-91 in Enfield this morning, and one of those troopers suffered serious injuries. That crash happened between exits 47 and 48, right where the highway nears the Enfield Square Mall. Thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden. State police tell us the troopers were responding to a crash near the on-off ramps when they were hit. The highway was shut down for several hours while investigators worked to figure out exactly what happened. And we have team coverage tonight. Joe Monty has the latest on the investigation into the crash. Victoria Anderson shares how this is not the first accident like this for the area. And Priscilla Meza learns about the training for the job as a new police recruit class begins their journey. And we begin tonight with Joe Monty, who was just off the highway near where the crash happened. Joe, what more have you learned?
As you mentioned earlier, the traffic was terrible. Police had the highway shut down as they conducted their investigation. We did just recently learn the names of the officers that were involved. Officer Matthew Sari and Trooper Christopher Genovese were injured, but they're expected to be okay. Just after 7 this morning, state police tell us troopers were investigating a crash on I-91 near exit 47 West. They were parked right on the right shoulder while Trooper Genovese was standing outside of his car. That's when we're told a car lost control after hitting a patch of standing water and spun into the right shoulder where officers were parked. That car hit the police car, sending it into Genovese and knocking him onto the side of the road. Those that were in the car that lost control weren't badly injured. Both troopers in the car were taken to the hospital. We're told Trooper Sari's injuries were minor, while Trooper Genovese's were more serious. For the latest information on this story, you can stick with us on air. You can also check our website, fox61.com. Joe Monty, Fox 61.
Joe, thank you. We have everything you need to know about the troopers and the crash online, streaming, and on our free Fox 61 News app. Just download Fox 61 Plus to your TV and watch for free. Now, while both state troopers are expected to be okay, not every member of law enforcement is able to walk away from accidents like this one. Fox 61's Victoria Anderson takes a look back at the sacrifice of our state troopers on the roadways.
Thursday morning's crash on I-91 was not the first where state officers were either severely injured or killed in the line of duty. There have been dozens of crashes involving Connecticut state troopers, and in most situations, they walk away without a scratch or non-life-threatening injuries. But that's not always the case. Aaron Pelletier, Kevin Miller, Kenny Hall are familiar names to many who live in Connecticut. They were all killed in the line of duty during traffic stops. Back in 2010, Trooper Kenneth Hall was making a routine traffic stop in Enfield when his cruiser was hit from behind. Michael Pajak, the man who police say was behind the wheel, was speeding and intoxicated at the time. He accepted a plea deal and served 11 years in prison. In 2018, Trooper First Class Kevin Miller died after his cruiser crashed into the back of a tractor trailer on I-84 in Toland. And in 2024, Trooper First Class Aaron Pelletier had pulled over a car on I-84 in Southington. During the traffic stop, a speeding pickup truck hit Trooper Pelletier and drove off. State police say the driver, Alex O'Shea Sanchez, was captured. He pleaded guilty to manslaughter and was sentenced back in April to 18 years in prison. Statistics show that across the country, 42% of law enforcement losses come from motor vehicle accidents. Reporting at Hartford Hospital, Victoria Anderson, Fox 61.
Wow, caught on camera here, a car in Waterbury sped through an intersection and hit several parked cars before flipping onto the sidewalk. It all happened yesterday at the intersection of Cook and Grove Streets, the same intersection where a 14-year-old boy was hit and knocked off his scooter while crossing the street. Fox 61's Jamel Johnson spoke with concerned neighbors who want something to be done by the city.
Just a few months ago, a 14-year-old was hit at this intersection in Waterbury trying to cross the street. Now on Wednesday, another crash happened with the driver suffering minor injuries and several parked cars along that sidewalk being hit.
It's real bad. It's accidents at least two, three times a month right here.
The latest accident at the intersection of Cook and Grove Streets was Wednesday morning when a car sped through the intersection and slammed into parked cars along the curb. This video provided to Fox 61 shows the moment when the driver hits the first car and flips over several more until eventually coming to a stop. A different angle shows us the driver speeding through the intersection with a blinking traffic light and losing control of his car.
I was in my house about 2, 3 in the morning. I just heard a bow, bow. I look outside, a whole bunch of cops, ambulance, tow trucks, cars speeding. It's always around 2, 3 in the morning. They come flying through this light. This light is not a light. Once it hit 11 o'clock, nobody pays it. Everybody going through it.
The man we spoke with was fearing the worst when he looked outside and saw how serious the crash was.
I thought somebody really got serious injury. I was wondering, that was a bad crash. I wonder if that person okay.
The Waterbury Police Department tells us the driver was taken to the hospital and is being treated for their injuries. While the speed limit in the area is 35, the neighbor I spoke with believes many drivers coming through are traveling at double that speed. He says his car was also involved in a crash earlier this year.
I had my work car right by the corner. A car had came by and side scraped my whole side of the truck from the trunk all the way, knocking the mirror off. If I were to guess by seeing cars go, they're doing 60 up this street. It's too small, and they're coming 60 up here, flying up here.
Back in April, another crash happened at the intersection where a 14-year-old boy was riding his scooter when a motorcyclist crashed into him as he was crossing the street. These incidents are prompting neighbors to call on the city to implement better safety measures at the intersection.
People need to slow down. They need to put something here to make sure people not coming straight onto the sidewalk.
Waterbury police tell us they have not determined what led to the driver losing control as he drove through the intersection. They say that the crash is still under investigation. In Waterbury, Jamel Johnson, Fox 61.
An East Haven woman has been sentenced for a deadly hit and run that killed a pedestrian last summer. Elizabeth Cronk will serve 51 months in prison with a 10-year sentence suspended after time served and then 5 years of probation. Authorities say Cronk was unlicensed when she hit and killed Gina Lavaca and then drove away without calling for help, despite her son, a passenger, urging her to stop. Police tracked her down using surveillance video and arrested her at home. Emergency workers in New Britain recovered a stolen car submerged in 15 feet of water at Batterson Pond today. The Berlin and New Britain dive team and the Capital Region Emergency Services team worked together to pull out the car. Officials didn't mention who took it or how they found it. State authorities are working to bring a woman to Connecticut who's convicted of flying from New York to Paris illegally last November. Svetlana Dali faces new charges of getting past security at Bradley International Airport. We're told she hid among other passengers, but she was not able to board the plane. Dali was sentenced today to time served behind bars for last year's illegal Paris trip. Dali was locked up for nearly 7 months. A federal judge in Brooklyn says she won't be released because of these new charges. Well, 2 Southington men have been arrested following separate investigations into child sexual abuse material. 30-year-old Oliver Cocho and 46-year-old Thomas Morse Jr. are both charged with possession of child sexual abuse material in the first degree. Both cases began with cyber tips from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. It involved help from federal and out-of-state agencies. Both men are being held on $250,000 bonds. And new at 6, the Connecticut Department of Corrections says 8 prisoners in Cheshire have not eaten in days now. We're told they're protesting the number of times the Cheshire Correctional Institution has been placed on lockdown recently. Fox 61 is working to learn how many times it has happened. Leaders say lockdowns happen when staffing levels are low. 7 prisoners stopped eating Monday and another person joined them Tuesday. Staff members have talked with them about their concerns. And officials say once an inmate hasn't eaten in more than 48 hours, the department's medical and mental health staff takes over. A correction officer position has been posted on Connecticut's employment website. A former Hamden firefighter filed a lawsuit against the department. He claims he was passed over for promotions based on his race. James McCarthy says he applied for 2 leadership roles but was not selected. He says he was more qualified. McCarthy points to public efforts by the department to increase diversity and says that may have factored into the decisions. In the claim, he says the experience caused emotional distress and was a major factor in his decision to retire from the department last May after 23 years of service. The lawsuit calls for more than $15,000 in damages. As of now, town officials have not publicly commented. And the latest now in the fight against opioid abuse, millions of dollars are likely on their way to Connecticut following a landmark settlement with multiple drug makers. Connecticut could see more than $8 million following a federal settlement that will provide a total of $720 million to all 50 states. Connecticut Attorney General William Tong says he worked to secure every dollar he could from the 8 companies that are the defendants in this settlement. Tong says those companies knew the risks of the narcotics they were supplying long before the public did.
What we see here on the part of these manufacturers, largely generic manufacturers, is they knew. They knew that these drugs are highly addictive. They knew that their products were being overprescribed, oversold.
Funding will be spent on opioid treatment, prevention, and recovery. Connecticut has already received more than $600 million to combat the opioid epidemic, and the state saw a 26% decline in opioid overdose deaths last year.